Alright, so last week I've officially seen Dora and the Lost City of Gold, and needless to say, it is one of the most interesting cinematic experiences I've ever had. And there's just no words to sum it up properly. So I had to make this video to tell y'all to watch it. But I really didn't because, I mean, it speaks for itself, right? I mean, every every classic movie has a scene about a poop hole. But I'm getting ahead of myself, okay? What's this movie about? You know, I don't even know. How did we get to this point? I have no idea. I mean, it's been Nickelodeon's MO to remake all these classic properties and give them new life, but this is one of the most unexpected ways to do it I've ever seen, and to pick Dora of all things is just legendary. This has been in development forever, and for the longest, people have known this as Michael Bay's Dora, which it is not. But his studio directed it, so, it's practically the same thing. Dora and the Lost City of Gold is effectively like an epilogue to the original series and prequel for the spin-off series where she's like 13 years old and she's in the city. Basically, it follows her course from a young girl into a full-fledged teenager. From her being an adventurer and explorer in the jungles of South America into being a new girl in LA high school. And, despite her courage, she does not fit in, but who cares, because she's drawn back into the jungle to save her parents anyway from mercenaries, and also Swiper's there, and he's really weird. That essentially covers all our bases, right? So, I technically have to review this, which means I have to talk about technical aspects, like I have to talk about what makes this good or bad on like objective scales. And like I don't want to I don't want to talk about that, but we'll do it anyway. Emotionally it's pretty satisfying. Like it's a Dora movie. I would expect that much. I would say Dora's pretty compelling. Diego is not, and that's a shame. But I mean, everyone else is pretty much like a one-note character, and I mean, I guess that's okay. I mean, it furthers the plot along. That's all I could care about. But yeah, I mean, there's no depth. Okay, very little depth. On a technical level, I would say that $50 million. I can see it. That's how much they spent to make this movie, and let me tell you, I can see it in the set design, in the props, and it's there, and I appreciate that. We'll get to more of that later, okay? Just know that this looks like a real movie. It's polished, it's there, and you can see all of that. On a narrative level, this movie's a hot mess, but I mean. I didn't come in with any expectation. That's not a diss. I mean, I'm just saying, I didn't know what to expect, and Dora gave me a lot of things. Okay, this movie is interesting because they tried to throw 10,001 different AUs at the wall to see which one stuck, and you have two or three that stick, and that forms the main plot and catalyst for everything moving along. And you have 16 other things that don't really stick, but they're hard and they've already attached to the wall. So if you try to peel it off, you don't really get it peeled off all the way. It's half hanging off because it's affixed to the wall, but it's not really relevant or significant. So it's just there, right? This story was really action packed, so they had a hard time fitting everything in, and because of that, it was just hard for them to do everything. I understand this is Dora, okay? We need to flesh it out as much as we can, and just to put our best foot forward. But yeah, no, on a narrative level, kind of sucks. You can appreciate it for its visual tenets, okay? That's what I'm gonna say. That's the best I can do. That's all I got. See, this movie At best, at the very best, is like a soft 6. I don't like giving movies ratings when I see them. I think that's kind of arbitrary. But I think most people who would have seen it would probably be nice to it, but at best, it's very middle of the road. Maybe like decent, but that's all you're gonna get. Alright? I notice that of the few people that have watched it, they were generally positive. I liked that. Of the people who saw it, they gave it a positive review. That means that 10,000 sequels will probably be on the way. But besides that, okay, I like the idea that this exists and that Nickelodeon thought it'd be profitable to put out there. Even though, like, bruh, where my Wonder Pets movie at? but like, for real, I mean, it's a very interesting idea. Again, I say of the few people that saw it because I don't think many people saw it. Even fewer people on YouTube talked about it. And I mean, I don't necessarily blame them because when you see Dora movie, that is probably the fastest that you'd ever nope out of a conversation to see a movie ever in your whole life. If you did see it, good for you for being open emotionally. Okay, good job. I respect this movie a lot. It's not because it's good, because it's not really. It is enjoyable, but it's not that good. I feel like this is a movie that came from the heart. Like, it came from the recesses of the writers and maybe their kids' deranged minds, and they wrote this, like, edgy, kind of immature fan film for Dora. Like, this is a proper expansion on the Ariel Winter college humor short, okay? Like, this is the proper expansion on that. But I respect it more, alright? It's one of the most interesting films I've ever seen. And I think that's because, despite this being a very campy movie, very campy concept, a very campy premise that holds some of the most campy acting I've seen in a kid's film, there's a lot of heart there. The producers and the writers did sincerely care. In fact, everybody who worked on this movie or with it did care. I did feel that. Jeff Wahlberg, for as wooden as his acting is, he did care. These writers that threw in a good 3-minute scene about digging a poop hole in the middle of the jungle, they cared. Alright? Nickelodeon, for as much as they neglect the current slate of Nicktoons, with exception to their Nick Jr. slate, they did care. They cared about making this a reality, and they brought out the advertising, they brought out the merch, and I appreciate seeing that for such a silly concept. See, when people talk about this film, a common thread that's brought up is that it's for kids, which I feel annoyed by. I'm annoyed by that phrase in general, because it feels like it's a few paces away from the very similar It's a Cartoon when trying to kind of dissolve any criticism or discourse to be had with it, but like, I'm more annoyed when it's used with reference to this film. Why? Because for all intents and purposes, it kind of implies that it didn't really need to try, it didn't really need to care about its product. You're pretending like this is some Air Buddies having Adam Sandler directed, Seth Rogen produced nightmare of a film, when it is in fact not that. It's kind of like an adventure film and like your stereotypical dog movie rolled into a nicely branded package. It's very different, and I respect that for it. This movie and Dora are linked and they're synced philosophically. There's a point in the movie where Dora is being bullied beyond belief, and Diego just says to her, like, are you dumb? Like, do you realize you're being bullied right now? And she just responds with, yeah, but like, what am I supposed to do? Change myself? And like, yeah, that's kind of deep. Not just for the target audience, but in general, like, it's good commentary. It's a good basis for what this character is, and it's a good basis for what this movie is. I respect it a lot more because it was itself. And despite being like Dora, being an insane, unfocused mishmash of all types of different influences, it still managed to be entertaining. And you know what? It gives me hope. This summer, the Lion King remake became the highest grossing animated film of all time. And there's no end to the salt involved with that news. But I can tell you that you have movies like Dora, and if you could successfully make a decent family flick about Dora and have it be on point with the source material and have it actually be have it contain an actual story, there is hope. There is hope, alright? It does make me, almost proud to have grown up with this, you know? Almost, you know? I'm still more of a Blue's Clues type of person, but, you know. Every dog has its day. And, today should be Dora's. Please, if you are a fan of animation, you really need to see this film. It is poignant, and it is relevant to our culture. And, it has something to offer, you know? Dora will take care of you, I promise you that. You know, it's better than any kind of Paw Patrol movie, am I right, though?